Good evening and welcome to yet another edition of the Liberian Diaspora Forum Talk Show. This program airs every Sunday night with possible special editions during weekdays depending on guest schedules. Today is Sunday, March 10, 2013, and the local time here in Minnesota is 9 p.m. It's 8 p.m., 8 p.m. and 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Just 2 days ago, on Friday, March 8, 2013 to be precise, was the World International Women's Day. This week, therefore, is indeed the World International Women's Week. As a matter of fact, this entire month of March is celebrated and characterized by many global events in recognition of the economic, political, and social achievements of women. Last week, President Obama signed a bill strengthening and reauthorizing the Violence Against Women Act. In the same week, President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf of Liberia launched what she called a Zero Tolerance Campaign against sexual and gender-based violence. As part of the ongoing celebration, therefore, we are honored and very much delighted to host the Minister of Gender and Development of the Republic of Liberia, Honorable Julia Duncan Cassell, who has just attended the World International Women's Conference in New York on behalf of the Liberian women. Honorable Cassell will speak to questions and concerns about violence against women and the role of women in the peace building process of Liberia. My name is Kafumba Kroma, and I will be your host tonight. And with that said, let me turn the microphone over to the woman that we've all come to hear from, Honorable Cassell. Happy International Women's Day to you, and welcome to the Liberian Diaspora Forum. Your opening remark, ma'am. Welcome, sir. Oh, she's here. I'm seeing her. Welcome, sir. Can you hear me? Hello, welcome, sir. Okay, that's a new one. Welcome, sir. Hello. Yeah. Hello, Honorable Cassell. I see you here. Her number is here. I'm looking at her. Well, Honorable Cassell, if you're hearing me and I'm not hearing you, your line is perfectly open. It's okay. So maybe you might want to log out and come back in. Sometimes that works. Just in case you are hearing me and we're not hearing you, but your line is open. Thank you. Okay. So, folks, please bear with me. We're having a slight technical difficulty, very much unusual, but it is expected. She just got off the line, and I'm assuming she'll come back very quickly here, and we will open up a line and get the show rolling. Again, thanks to all of you for being here. Okay. Okay, sir. Okay. Take what happened. Hello, Honorable?
It's unmuted. I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, the first time you were not muted. I think it was just pure technical difficulty. Your line was open the first time. But I'm glad you logged off and came back on. You are loud and clear. And so if you were hearing me, so you heard everything I read there. Is that correct?
I sure did. I want to say thank you for such a program and informing our people, and to all of the listeners out there. It is an honor and a pleasure for me to share some of what is happening back home with them.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable. So, folks, that is the Minister of Gender and Development of the Republic of Liberia, Honorable Julia Duncan Cassell. She has just made a very brief remark, and so with that, I will open your question line so that we can get the ball rolling, like Joel Howard Taylor said, right? Let's get it rolling. So you may begin entering your questions by dialing *61. And very unfortunately, I will not be entertaining text messages today because my phone is having some issues with that. So I will not be accepting questions through text line today. Your best option is to dial *61 so that you may ask your question directly. Because while we are with people to, some have started entering already, but while we are with that, I'd like to commend you for all of what you've been doing for Liberia, and particularly also for coming on the show. But I'd like to begin by asking you the question that many people have wondered. Why does Liberia need gender ministry? And by the way, is there a distinction? Is it a gender ministry or a women ministry? Which is it?
It is a gender ministry, yes, a good question. But I just want to say, too, that the whole month of March is Women's Month, and I want to wish all of the Liberian women living in the diaspora a happy International Women's Day, and I hope that all of the peaceful, loving men of Liberia will remember to respect their moms, their sisters, their daughters, their wives, and continue to know that the women play a very important role and the women are very important to society. In Liberia, yes, we have the Ministry of Gender and Development, and the world definition of gender is both. So at the Ministry of Gender, according to the article that we abide by, that we work by, it states that to seek the welfare of women and children at this time. It doesn't say that it's only for women now, because at the Ministry of Gender and Development, we run a lot of different programs. We have the Children's Protection Unit at the ministry. We have the adolescent girls. We are having conferences for boys, adolescent boys, because whatever you do for the girls, you have to make sure that the boys understand that and that they can accept it. Then we have the Women Empowerment Program. The reason why this ministry was created during the former President Charles Taylor's tenure was because at the time they felt that women were marginalized, that the men were more in authority, the men were more at decision making. So they needed to give a voice to the women and to hear the women's voices. And that's why the ministry was created, but with emphasis at this particular time in our history on women and children. A lot of our women were being abused and misused. Children were being used as child soldiers. So they needed to give attention to it. But I'm sure in the future that will change once the women are on par with the men in governance, in politics, in society as a whole. But for now, the mandate given to us from government, that's legislative, is saying that we should advise government on the well-being and welfare of women and children.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for that eloquent deliberation. I'll take my first caller for the night. Folks, if you're just joining us, welcome to the Liberian Diaspora Forum weekly talk show. Tonight we have the honor and the privilege of hosting the Honorable Minister of Gender and Development of the Republic of Liberia, Honorable Julia Duncan Cassell. So I'll take the first caller. This is Brother Senior, I believe, Mr. Senior, calling from Minnesota. Welcome to the Liberian Diaspora Forum. Your question for the Honorable. What's Senior? Senior?
Yes, I'm here. You hear me?
Yeah, can hear you loud and clear.
Yes. Yes, I was saying, no, Brother Kafuma, thank you again. Thank you for bringing one of our own daughters, sisters, mothers, to come and talk to us today in the person of the Honorable Minister. Like I said, you always have provide information I would need to know since we are not there in Liberia. Madam Minister, happy Women's Day to you, International Women's Day to you.
Thank
and
you.
Glad to have you. And let me join you to say thank you. As a request, I want to say happy International Women's Day to my mom, who is in Liberia, Mount Sarah Quarter. Having said that, could you describe briefly what is it that you, particularly as Minister for Gender Affairs, what is it you're doing as a ministry to really help our sisters, our mothers and daughters who are in the street? I understand, the rate of prostitution is somehow high in Liberia. Is that true? If so, can you comment on what you're doing through your ministry to help our sisters, our mothers, and our daughters out of the street into the classroom and into workforce?
Thank you, Mr. Sayer, and that is a very good concern, and I'm glad you raised it. Yes, prostitution is high, and the reason for that is because lack of education, poverty. We have a vulnerable, what we refer to as the Vulnerable Girls Program that we launched, I think sometime last year, to get a database, a survey of what was happening, why these girls were out in the street. We went out ourselves and were able to get about 125 girls off the streets. And after counseling them and having discussion with them, we found out that they were out in the street because of many reasons. One, you have women living in Monrovia that were going to the interior and bring these girls to town with the intention of sending them to school, only to send them out in the street. Two, you have girls who mother couldn't afford it and their father, they didn't know where he was, and so they needed to help with the family, and so they got in the street. The other thing you found out that there was just girls who decided, look, this is the way I want to be, and this is what I'm going to be. So those girls that needed help, that we thought could be rehabilitated, we decided to put them into a program at the YWCA. We renovated the YWCA. We are working with them. So we have the Vulnerable Girls Program where we are trying now to take girls out of the streets and put them into boarding schools. Government, through the Ministry of Education, have reestablished the Balatois boarding school that was built long ago by President Torbo. That school was totally damaged. Now that school, we're going to be sending 125 vulnerable girls that will go to school free of charge from 7th grade up to 12th grade. We are partnering with Rick's Institute, with Bombay, all of those old boarding schools, so that these girls can have values and they can have an opportunity. And as time goes on and the finances are there, we will create the space, more boarding school, to be able to accommodate some of these. We also have at the Ministry of Gender a program that's called EPAC. EPAC is the Economic Empowerment for Women and Young Girls. And this is a program that we teach these young girls business skills, life skills, so that they can develop into business people. Because a lot of them, some of them go to school, they graduate from high school, but can't get into college. But if you teach them business skills, they can start to do their own business and be able to help themselves to get into colleges. Some of them, we teach them how to be drivers. Right now, we have a lot of these young girls who have graduated from the program. They're driving MTA buses. They're driving for ministries. And all of what we get from that, they are the best drivers. We have girls that we train into securities. We have girls that we train into housekeeping, into different programs. So the Economic Empowerment Program that we've introduced, that being sponsored by the Nike Foundation and the World Bank, is helping these vulnerable girls get off the street. So there's just so much government can do when it comes to girls in the street and prostitution. But the citizens themselves, the parents themselves, you, Mr. Sayan, I sure you have people. All of us have to do this together. It has to be done collectively. But government is doing what it needs to do to help eradicate this situation.
Thank you. Folks, if you're just joining us, please dial *61 to have your question heard over to the Honorable Minister. And by the way, I have managed to change my SIM card, and so with that, I know many of you can be at work and it's hard for you to ask your questions yourself. So I have reverted the decision to not take text messages. I got a different phone as of right now, so you may text your question as usual to 612-203-3820. 612-203-3820. All right, I'll take the next caller, and the next caller comes from Australia. I believe it's Mr. Bobby Whitfield. Mr. Whitfield, welcome to the Liberian Diaspora Forum. Your question for the Honorable Minister.
Thank you very much, Performer. My name is Bobby Whitfield, and I'm the president of the Federation of Liberian Communities here in Australia. That's the national peak body. Happy International Women's Day, Madam Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Whitfield.
Look, I just want to take my hat out to the women of Liberia and what they are doing since the civil war back home. Some of us fled the country when we were very young, and we found ourselves now living in Australia. If I can recall fully well, this is our very first official engagement with any government official from the the Liberian diaspora in Australia. And I think we need to do more, Madam Minister, to engage with the government, with the Liberian community here in Australia. That's my first message. And the second one is to actually say that, look, government all over the world, including the United Nations and whatever you can pass, whatsoever law they would like to pass in empowering women. But it is community leaders, it is community members, it is the fathers, the brothers, the sons, at the grassroots who really need to take initiative. And I released a message here to the Liberian community, challenging every man in our community that, it is about. Am I still on?
Yeah,
yes, you are.
You're on. Go ahead.
Yeah. I challenge every man in our community here in Australia. It is about time we really take the empowerment of women seriously. And all the beautiful work you are doing, if the men and the boys, sons are not on board to take the empowerment of women seriously, it will come to nothing. So that was my very first message on the International Women's Day, and it just really resonated with a lot of men, and I saw men coming on board and congratulating the leadership for putting out such a message, and our women also appreciate it. But Madam Minister, my question is not really on the issue of women, because I know there's tremendous work in progress and they're going to lead to something, and you are doing a really great job. But I also know that you are a Minister of Development. That is my background. I studied the Master of Development Practice at the University of Queensland, majoring in community development. And when I see or hear the news from out of Liberia, it's just really, really sickening. Some of us, we are doing everything we can to sell our country image positively, but with the level of corruption, with the level of injustice.
Mr. Whitfield?
Yep.
Do you have a question?
Yeah. I'm getting the question.
We are set to have you as a guest next week, and I'm sure we will have a wonderful show. We usually have one guest at a time, and tonight the guest is Honorable Minister. So if you want to summarize it and go to the question, that would be great, sir.
Exactly, Mr. Kuma. I'm getting to the question. But, Minister, with all of these negative news that is coming out of Liberia, what in particular your minister is doing, as you are, responsible for the development portfolio, to make sure that development is very strong on the government agenda, and those issues that are impediment to development are addressed appropriately?
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Mr. Whitfield. And I just want to say to you that we just attended, or we are still in New York attending the 57th Commission on the Status of Women. And I was fortunate to have had a bilateral meeting with the minister from Australia, because they were very interested in the work that we're doing as women in Liberia. And we were commended just like you just did to us. And so this is something that they hold us high. And I want to say to you that even though you are in Australia, but there are a lot of information. The Ministry of Gender and Development has a very live website. And to access that website, all of our activities is on there. Is www.mogd.gov.lr. Okay, and we have a Facebook, social Facebook network too. But let me just say, as the Minister of Gender and Development is a cross-cutting issue. is an issue that has to be mainstream in all of the ministries and agencies. So women empowerment is just one of what we do. Child protection, human rights, HIV and AIDS, gender-based violence, domestic violence. Those are all what we do as part of the development process. I know you spoke about corruption, but I can tell you, I grew up in Liberia, and back in the days, we never even knew what a budget was. We never saw it. But because of the kind of government that our president, Madam Salif, is running right now, so people can openly talk about corruption and what is happening because people know what's in the budget. People know what is assigned to each ministry and agency. People know what revenues are being collected, and people have freedom of speech. So this is something that we welcome. So you will hear a lot about corruption. Yes, I'm not saying it's not there, but the fact that she has created a space for us as citizens of Liberia to know what financial management is, to know what an open budget is, when a country budget is improved, how is it being applied. So these are some of the things that people can openly not talk about, okay? But the issue of our country is not just to rely on the government or people that are there, but those of you, I used to be in the diaspora too. I lived abroad for 26 years before I decided to go back home during the crisis. So I know what it is to be on this side and to be on that side. But communication, information is so important, and that's why I agree to come on this show, because it's people like Mr. Kumar that create the space for people to understand the issue around the development and the upkeeping of our country. So I applaud you in Australia. Keep up the good work. Keep the Liberians there together. And one day we hope to be there because we just started this new relationship with the minister there. And I think there's a lot that we can learn from the people in Australia.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Minister. Let me say to Honorable Whitfield that if this is your first interaction with a Liberian government official, we encourage you to come here more often. We've hosted several government officials here, senators, representatives. Last week, actually, we had an associate justice of the Supreme Court of Liberia, and hopefully we'll have more coming. So with that said, Senior wants to make a follow-up question. Mr. Senior, welcome back to Liberian Diaspora Forum.
Yes, brother. Yes, thank you so much, brother Kafoma. I just wanted to follow up, but I think the Honorable Minister touched on it. I wanted to talk about, gender balance. Even though, as much as we love to empower our women, our daughters, and our mothers, by the same token, are we not, entramping upon the rights of men as well? But I think she kind of alluded to human rights. But can she please elaborate more on the balance between how women perceive men nowadays in terms of women's rights and gender's balance and all of that? Yeah, please, I beg you. Yeah, because you're getting serious now.
Mr. Sam, I think if anybody right is being trampled upon, it's the women and the young girls, because rape in our country is still on the rise. Yes, not only young girls are being raped, young boys too are being sodomized. But when it comes to domestic violence, when it comes to sexual violence, the numbers, the statistics are there. Will show you that more women and girls are being violated. The entire conference in New York is about stopping violence against women and young girls. Rape, gang rape, family rape. Most times when girls are raped, the perpetrators are family members. The perpetrators are somebody that the girls know. So that's what we are saying, that yes, we need the men, we need the boys to now start championing this cause of stopping violence against these women. Because these very women could be their mothers, could be their sisters, could be their wives, could be their aunties. So we need the men. We need to work along with the men. The women cannot do it alone. So we need people like you, Mr. Sayer, and others good men out there. There's a saying that says real men don't rape. Real men don't beat his wife. Real men. But the thing about violence is not just of physical violence, women access to justice, women access to land. Those are all violence against women, okay? Because in our traditional setting, when a woman is married and the man got 5 wives, the man died, in some of our culture, the brother come and take over the family. Then he comes to take over his brother family, he bring his own family along. So that woman get put down to the bottom of the list. So when we talk about violence against women, it's in all forms and shapes. We talk about our own culture, the norms of our culture. That the women are supposed to be seen and not heard. The decisions are made by the men. We are seeing the women were allowed, or the men will allow their sons to work miles to go to school, and they will keep the girls home because she got to wash the clothes, she got to cook, and she got to take care of the family. Those are all forms of violence against the women and girls. We are seeing it needs to stop. Let the girls be able to go to school along with the boys. And if I ask you a question, Mr. Spain, when you were in school, how many girls were in school with you? If I ask you, where are those girls now? You can account for all of the boys that were in class with you. You cannot account for those girls. So this is what we are saying, that if you have a girl child in school with you, take her by the hand. Make sure that when you graduate, she should be graduating with you. And that way, we eliminate violence against women and young girls. We all have a role to play. The boys, the men, as well as the girls. Those men that keep the girls for their goddaughters or the girl, while we sing, give them the chance. Give them the chance to be girls and our wives at an early age. In our society, we have teenage marriages. We have teenage pregnancy, early marriages, teenage pregnancy. Those are all forms of violence.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Our next caller will be Mr. Bangali Tarawale from Brooklyn Center, Minnesota. Mr. Tarawale, welcome to the Liberian Diaspora Forum. Your question for the Honorable.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Thank you very much for taking my request. Madam Minister, welcome to America. We highly appreciate you being with us to lighten our minds on critical issues back home. I bring you to some of your statements concerning domestic violence and what have you, and I'm wondering what the justice system is doing to curtail some of that to the point where gender ministry or gender organization got to be brought in place. But basically, my concern or my question would come to the point where you say gender ministry is not only for women, it's not a women ministry, which sounds to me to be so much debatable because everything I'm hearing centered around women. But you say you have conversation with boys, you got boys program. That brings me to a concern where your ministry or conflict with that of the Ministry of Youth and Sports. Youth and Sports is there to empower youth, and you talking about the same thing. Is that a conflict of functions? Is there any way that both of you doing the same thing? Because you talk about other vocational institutions like you, and they're saying the same thing, caring boys, girls, to empower them, to take them out of the street. So you address that, please. Thank you.
Well, good question, and I think I can answer that. The Ministry of Youth and Sports in Liberia, the age for youth is from 16 years old to 36 years old. That is the age of youth. So that is the Ministry of Youth and Sports. At the Ministry of Gender and Development, we have children from 0 to 18 years old. That is the age of the children. So we take care of the children. We have the Children's Protection Network. Then we have the adolescent girls, okay? And the adolescent girls are girls from 11 years old to 16 or 18 years old. Those girls that don't fit within the youth, those are the adolescent girls. And those are the girls that are mostly abused and most vulnerable. And then we take care of the women. Youth and Sports do not take care of women. you ask a question about justice ministry. We do not do persecution. It's the justice ministry. Justice ministry, when parents come or mother come and say, look, I have 3 kids by this man and he's not supporting the children. We try to keep family together, to try to mediate between the father and the children. If for any reason we can't find a common ground to keep the family together, then it has to be legal. We send the case over to justice. If there's a rape case, we go and we send the case to the police, from the police to the courts. That is justice and the judiciary. We do not have a prosecuting authority, but we have the authority in making sure that those cases are followed through and justice prevails. So the Justice Ministry has its own functions, and the Ministry of Gender and Development has its own function, and so does the Ministry of Youth and Sports. And no, we are not overlapping. If you went, like I said, you went on the website, you will see the mandate of each ministry and what their roles and functions are. Our role is to empower women, to empower young girls, adolescent girls, and to protect the rights of children. And children, you got boys, you got girls, and children. And children is 0 in Liberia to 16. We try now to change it to 18 so we can be in conformity with national standards. But the ages of our youth in Liberia is from 16 to 36 years old. So that falls directly under the Ministry of Youth and Schools. But we work closer together. The Ministry of Gender, like I said before, is a cross-cutting ministry. It's a ministry that crosses across all other ministries, in ensuring that even at the Ministry of Youth and Sports, that youth are not all boys, that girls are protected under that ministry, that girls are equally involved in all of the programs at the Ministry of Youth and Sports. At the Ministry of Justice, it is the work of the Ministry of Gender and Development in ensuring that those cases that has to do with mothers and young women are persecuted, and we follow it to the letter. So we are not overlapping with any other ministry, but our ministry crosses across every ministry. We want to make sure that girls' education, we want to make sure that they're in school equal with the boys, that they are on track with the boys. We want to make sure that every ministry, internal affairs, health and social welfare, the well-being of the children, that is, we may have access to health, public works, all of the ministries. Our ministry is a cross-cutting ministry that go across all of the ministries and agencies. So you'll find us in every ministry, every agency, and no, we are not overlapping functions.
Thank you. Thank you. Folks, if you're just joining us, we have the Honorable Minister of Gender and Development of Liberia, so please dial *61 if you have question, comment, or concern. Or you may text your question to 612-203-3820. Honorable Minister, I have the first text message question for you here. This writer writes that recently, the situation involving the former acting city mayor of Monrovia, Mary Bro, and the former superintendent of Montserrat County were involved in the situation that led to a group of women demonstrating for some cause. You were initially part of that group, and then you took a term, you decided to stay out of it, and then issue an apology. Is there any reason why you were part of it before? And then what was the change of heart? He says.
Well, I don't know what they got that news from, or when you say part of it. I am the Minister of Gender and Development, and according to my mandate, okay, from the ministry to West Central Precinct is not far. I went to the Central Precinct. What I said, and I would say it again, that at the time that I got there, the superintendent and Mary Bro had left the scene. They had left the scene. So I did go to the ministry. I mean to the Central Precinct. And I will repeat that. Okay? But I apologize because when I was called to the Liberia House of Representatives, I was questioned that I incited the women against the legislature. Because in a press interview, I said that these women could have been the mothers, the aunties, and the daughters, and the wives. And one of the honorable men said that was incitement. And so I said, if they felt any way offended by that statement, I apologize. So I apologize for him saying that I was inciting the women against them.
Okay.
So Teddy texted to get his story right. About my own involvement.
All right, caller. Hopefully you heard that. Get your facts straight. We'll take the next caller. The next caller is calling from Ghana, Accra 233. That's Ghana area code. Caller, please tell us your name, where you're calling from, and your question for the Honorable Minister. Hello?
Yeah, hello?
Hello? 233?
Yeah, hello?
Can you tell us where you... Yeah, hello? Can you tell us your name, where you're calling from, and your question, man? Hello? Can you hear us?
Yes, I
Hello?
text my message. My back.
Well, yes, so your line is already open. Why don't you just ask the question instead of testing it?
My battery is low. I will soon be going over all of calling here. So please.
Okay, sounds good. All right, test it and then we'll go from there. All right. Well, then that will bring us to Mr. Komara M. Would you please state your full name, where you're calling from, and your question for the Honorable Minister, Komara M.
Good evening, Madam Honorable Cassie. Thanks for taking my call to Mr. Kumar. My question to you is that you did. Hello.
Hello, we're here. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I thought I was out. My question to you, Honorable Lady, is that you just said in your letter that teenager pregnancy are increasing. So, in your ministry, since you're there to help the ladies, what are you doing to reduce some of those teenager pregnancy?
Thank you. Well, we work with the Ministry of Health and Social Welfare with planning and UNFPA to try to start teaching early health education in the school from the elementary level, helping them to prevent them from teenage pregnancy and early marriages. But most of those things happen in the villages, in the counties. So working along with the parents, educating the parents themselves, because a lot of the parents who are young people, so they themselves need help. Okay? And so this is a society issue, it's a community issue. It's bigger than just government. The family members themselves need to be part and parcel of educating our young girls that they can wait, that they can take care of themselves later on. Because to be young and have a baby, you can't take care of yourself, then you got to worry about the baby. So we are doing everything. We are working with family planning. We are working with the Ministry of Education to start teaching health education in the schools. We are working along with the Ministry of Health and Social Welfare. We set up groups in the various counties. We have our offices there. So we have different community meetings to educate them. Okay, but that's what we're saying. We need the men, we need the boys to appreciate it and allow these girls to go to school, allow them to reach their full ages before they start sleeping with them. It is important that all of us get involved in this. That it is very, very serious.
Thank you. Minister, is it your definition for a good man as being men who are willing to go along with your program? Is that a definition for good men?
My definition of a good man is someone who cares for someone who could be his wife, his sister, his niece, or his daughter. My definition of a good man is someone who wants to see another good woman wherever he is, side by side. If he's an engineer, he wants to see that woman next door to him being an engineer. A good man is someone who wants to encourage or inspire a young girl down there that she can be everything that she wants to be.
Okay.
A good man is someone who will protect that little girl. and making sure she reaches her full potential.
Thank you. I think I'm a good man based on those definitions. We'll allow the last caller to make a quick follow-up here. Yeah, I think I am. I fit all of those definitions.
Okay.
Amara, do you have a follow-up question?
Yeah, I got. It's not a follow-up, but this is a different question that I have.
Okay, quickly.
Sorry, Honorable.
Yeah,
I'm so interested into women life, so that's why you're gonna hear me a lot talking on your kids today. But one of my questions I got is, what are some of the challenges women face, accessing justice system? Like you said, because for people that live in the interior, like we all know, electricity rate is high. My mother that live uptown that doesn't know about the justice system, how can she get, what are some of the awareness that you do for some of those people that living uptown that doesn't live in Monrovia? To, like, when they face abuses, what they need to do, what are some of the steps that they need to take in order to get justice for them?
That is true. That's what I'm saying. As a ministry, Monrovia is not Liberia. We have offices in all of the 16 counties. We have the county coordinators and we have district coordinators. And so we go into the communities and we do awareness in the vernaculars, in the various languages and dialects within that community. And we allow the people themselves. We have the peace huts. We have we call it observatory, but it's a network within the community where you have a head person in that community. If there's a violence or there's something of that case there, how do you get to the commissioner or to the primary chief? So we have that network within the counties, in the districts. Before coming to be Minister of General Development, I was superintendent for 6 years. So I live in the county. So I know what it is to be in the district. So coming out to the ministry, we have offices in all of these counties. We have district coordinators, okay? And we work closely with the police. There's a general person in each police depot. We don't have police stations in all of the districts yet in Liberia, but we have police stations in all of the counties, all of the big districts. So you can come from, say for example, I know Bassa. If you were in district number 3, and there was a violence or domestic violence there in that district, you have a network there, the community people, women there, that you would know how to go to. Because we train people in the communities how to go to that person, and that person will know how to contact the next person. And so the network, we are establishing this network in the various communities, in the various clients, from the client level up to the district level, then on to the county level. So this is some of what we are doing to stop this violence and to give attention to people. It's not enough because of the road network, because of transportation, because of the communication. A lot of places now you can get communication through the telephone, or some of the places you cannot. So it makes it difficult. So the challenges are there. But we are doing all that we can to reach to the lowest, from the grassroots, from the person down to the client level. We are trying to get to them. And we know we'll get there because we have to. These people too are equally important, and we need to be able to get to them.
Thank you. Before I take my next caller here, I'd like to ask you, Honorable Minister, recently, this is the month of women, March, International Women's Day. And as I said in my introduction, both President Obama and President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf have signed separate, Obama has signed a bill into law in order to reauthorize Women's Act, and Ellen Johnson launched her campaign for violence against gender-based violence. And then just in the wake of that, the Deputy Speaker of the House of Liberia is quoted as saying that, of course, his comment was relating to a different kind of bill that's before them for the third time, if I might add. He's quoted as saying that what women actually want in Liberia is not equality, but rather they want dominance. I read that on one of the local papers yesterday, in one of the papers yesterday. And I was wondering, how much cooperation are you getting from lawmakers with all of the things that you've talked about here, or all of the things that you want to do? Now, comments like that, women don't simply want equality. What they truly want is dominance. How do you feel about that?
Well, the Honorable Deputy Speaker happens to be from my county. So this is someone that I know personally, and I know what his views are when it comes to protecting the rights of women. And while we're here in New York at the conference of the status of women, we were also celebrating the International Women's Day in Liberia that the president attended. And at that program, there were legislators, there were cabinet ministers, there were members of the diplomatic corps, and all when she officially launched a zero tolerance against violence against women. What we have in Liberia, we have the rape law. We are now working on the domestic violence law. What the Honorable Deputy Speaker Hans Bachi was alluding to was this parity bill that the women of Liberia are about to pose before the legislature. This is a bill to give women 30% or more in the political arena. But you know, as it may, our Senate and our legislature have more males than females. So we're trying to get more there. But I was told that it was at a debate that they were attending, and you had the pros and the cons. So in any debate, to stimulate the debate, you need someone for and someone against. Yes, I did read it on the internet where he said that women are looking for dominance instead of equity. This is left with us now as the women to make sure that these men understand what it is that we are asking for and involve them in the process. They need to know from get-go. You don't just call somebody and say, oh, this is what we want to do tomorrow. We are saying that women just want to share the space with the men. Women and men need to be working side by side in order to move the development of Liberia. So this is something that we have to work on. We have to educate people that know this is what we are looking for. We are not looking for dominance. Women, I mean, just by virtue of the way women are made, the structure of women compared to the structure of men. So you see where the dominance comes from on which side. So what we are saying that we need to share the space with the men of Liberia, and that's what we are asking for in this parity bill that's going to be going forward that they were debating on. It has not gone to them yet, but we are working on it. We are soliciting their views and their support because there's best practices around the world. Other countries have done that. Rwanda, Dakar, Senegal, Malawi, other countries in our region. So for Liberia, to say the entire legislature should be run by men, we're saying give women the political space. Let women share this with you.
Honorable Minister, when you think about it, though, I think he had a good argument. I mean, especially when he's talking about the legislature. How do you arrive at that number, the 30%? I mean, who decides that whether women or men should be elected? Isn't that up to the electorate, the voters? I mean, how are you going to impose? Right.
This is the way it gets done is that we not just in the legislature. The party bill is also in political parties. When you set up the hierarchy of the parties, the hierarchy of the parties should not all be male. Women should be part of the hierarchy. Women should be chairman of the political parties. Women should be vice chairman of political parties. Women should be stand-up bearers of political parties. Okay? So we are saying, like, for now, we have, 13 political parties? Okay? So we are saying that the bill would say, look, when they go to decision making, let's make sure that when we draw up the structure of the party, that we have 30% of women participation. When we go into this election, let's make sure we're coming to go to decentralization, where the chieftaincy, the municipal elections going to be held. We are seeing that women too can be commissioners, women too can be primary chiefs, women can be mayors. Okay? So we're not asking for 100%. You have 100%, we say keep 70 and give us 30. Is that too much? But I do agree with you. You have to have those kind of things to really bring out what it is that the women want. Okay? Now with that being said, I'm sure the women are going to go back and do their homework, and we're going to call the deputy speaker back to another debate, and they'll be better prepared to address this issue. Is it dominance that we're looking for? No. It's like equal participation. Equal participation is what the women are looking for.
All right, we'll take the next call.
I think the women deserve that.
Okay. I know. Well, 30% is not much, but there's this thing they call slippery slope. 30%, and then soon it will go up. We'll take the next caller. We have another meeting to go to?
Yeah, how long is this now? Oh, baby, how much more do we have? It's almost 10 o'clock. Okay.
Can we do 30 more minutes?
Yeah,
please, Honorable Minister.
Okay, we'll take the last question. And I'm here to the 15th, so maybe I can come back on if it's.
Okay, well, now you got a whole lot of people making entry because they hear you want to leave, so questions are coming in like hell now. But let's see how many of these questions you can answer so we can get you out of here quickly. We know you're a very busy lady of substance. So 1963, the last three, DJ, please tell us your name, where you're calling from, and your question for the Honorable Minister. 1963, 1963.
Good evening, Honorable Minister. My name is Crazy D. I'm calling from Plymouth, Minnesota. Welcome to the United States. My question has to do with equal pay for both men and women in Liberia. I wondered if women are paid at the same rate as men in Liberia. Can you elaborate on if you have any information regarding equal pay rate for women as compared to men in Liberia? Thank you very much.
Equal pay for equal work. Okay.
That's equal pay for equal work. That is a good thing. I think when I go back, that would be the next survey I would do. I can't give you a yes or no answer on that because I'm not sure. But I think I'm going to do a baseline study. I think it's necessary so people can know what's happening when as it relates to pay between the male and the female in Liberia. So I'm going to work with civil service and come up with a data for that. And the next time you ask me that question, I will definitely have an answer for you.
Okay, thank you. 1728, 1728. Please tell us your name, where you're calling from, and your question quickly for the Honorable.
Yeah, good evening, Mr. Moderator. This is my baby. Thanks for picking my call. Actually, Madam Minister, welcome to the United States. I'm calling from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Welcome to the United States. One of the fundamental human rights of the section of the Liberian Constitution, the Constitution calls for equal pay for equal work, and also it also calls for every individual, irrespective of their gender, ethnicity, religious belief, or creed, that we all should be having equal opportunity for equal work. Don't you think the bill or the movement that you are trying to panel is in violation of the Constitution? That's my first question. Secondly, during the 2005 election, we have Madam Sheba Brown as the Liberian Action Party, or COTO, coalition of coalition COTO. I don't really know the meaning of the acronym now, but it was a combination of the Liberian Action Party and the Liberian Unification Party. She headed that party. Jordan Doe Sherry was heading the the opposition party. So what have we done?
Okay. Mr. Ability line has just dropped, so
hopefully. Okay, after Mr. Ability, you have 18 parties, and you have only 2 women chairing other 18 parties. You have only 2 women who are fortunate to be chairing 2 parties. Okay? So we are saying if you have 18 parties, at least 5 of them should be chaired by women. Equal right in the law under the Constitution. Yes, the law, our Constitution says that everyone in Liberia of Negro descent can own land. How many women in Liberia own land? How many women in Interior own land? So you think the men have been violating the women right ever since? The Constitution says that, but how many people follow it? We have a good Constitution, but the implementation of it has been our problem. And so we are saying that we now need to single out those areas that are important to the well-being and the welfare of women. And that's why we have a constitutional reform right now. Because access to land, women have been denied access to land in the counties. Because by nature, by virtue of the men, the women always have to be submissive to the men. The men own everything. And the women, they own nothing. The man die, the brother takes over, the brother own everything. And the woman is left there and being abused by the family member because she got nowhere to go. But if a woman has access to a land, That woman will say, look, I don't have to be in this relationship. I can leave. That woman can use her land deed and go to the bank and negotiate and be able to get loan and sustain herself and her children. The women need to be in power. The women need to have what is theirs. It is there, but it was not practiced because of the dominance of men over the women.
Okay. Folks, you heard the minister. She's not going to be here much longer, and so we will take the remaining, those of you who are in the queue right now, and then hopefully we can get the minister out of here. I know our show usually go way longer than this, and it's gonna be cut short by almost an hour. Hello, Minister. So I see most of you here are follow-up questioners. So we'll start with Brother Sayer. Mr. Sayer, welcome back to the forum.
Yes, let me do it quick. I'm so glad the minister said she would be here. Brother Kurma, I beg you, please make all effort to bring the minister back, please. Because, please, I beg you, Brother Kurma, do that for us. But let me go straight to the point, Madam Minister. Please, let me be respectful, Mama. Take out the hat or take out the hater, either one. Let me ask you, not as minister, but as a Liberian, a daughter of Liberia, and somebody who is passionate about that country. What is your view, Honorable Cassell, on the issue of TRC? Don't speak as minister, but speak as a Liberian. Anything you say, I will take it. God bless you, man. Thank you for what you do for the country. Yeah, just keep doing what you're doing. We're praying for you. But tell me, what's your view on TRC, please?
Mrs. Smith, I think I'm glad you do, and yes, as a citizen of Liberia, I think we opted for the TRC, the truth and reconciliation, meaning that people will get up there and speak the truth, and when you speak the truth, whoever you have problem with will reconcile with you, okay? But in order for me to reconcile with you, you must have done something to me, okay? I remember, and I was thinking, in my own mind, if we were going to be honest to ourselves, that we're going to go back from the 1980 coup, the coup d'etat. There were people that got hurt, whether we want to discuss it or not, but that should have been where we started the reconciliation from. Or even further back. From the involvement of what I saw with the TRC report, that there were people who caused atrocity that names were left out, that were not even called for questioning. So it made me wonder about the entire report, the report in its entirety. And if I...
Hello? Hello? Mr. Cassell? Hello?
Hello? Yes.
Yeah, go ahead. You're back. Go ahead.
So there was, I personally, I believe, or I really think that the report, the TRC, the reconciliation part should have gone back as far as 1980, when those 13 people were hung on a pole and were killed without due process. So anything after that for me, because you asked me personally, it didn't matter to me. It was one thing that led to the other. I'm a Christian. I believe in the Bible. And it says that you live by the soul, you die by the soul. So other people were wounded in 1980. Why are we there talking about 1996 war? Why are we there talking about 1989 war? What brought us there? How did we get there? Where were we before we got there? So that is my own concern. So that is my belief in doing the report. I'm sorry, but that's how I felt, that the report in its own entirety was not completed and that it was biased. It was biased for the fact that people that I know that physically participated in the atrocity of our country were left out of that report. It was biased for me. So that is me. I took out the minister hat.
Thank you for doing so. Well, I've stopped taking new questions. I've actually closed my question line, but these I just got 3 more people here who are asked questions earlier. They just want to make a follow-up, and I'll ask them to be very quick. I think that's it. If we're going to get you back, then we've got to respect your time. I understand that. So, folks, be very quick because we need to have this minister back on here. I know so many of you have just called in, but minister got other engagement. So, quickly, I'll go to Mr. Ability came back. Can you finish your question? Mr. Ability, welcome back to the forum.
Yeah, Madam Minister, I was talking today about the line went up. So let me just disregard that. I will catch you another time when you come back on the show. I just want to ask a question regarding the TLC, the one you just answered. There were people that you know, or there are people that you know that participated physically. The TLC was not only about perpetrators going, but eyewitnesses too. What did you do as a Liberian citizen to go before the TLC and give your account of the story and also name those people?
A good question. Thank you for that. I was so many times I went there and put my knee down and never called me. I would never call to go and testify because I wanted to be a part. Because for me, it was history making, and I felt that I had a story to tell, and my story was never heard. The records are there.
Okay. All right, just 2 more to go. Thank you. Ms. Kumara, quickly, please ask your question quickly.
Okay, I'll be very fast this time. Honorable Cassell, this is my question. As most of us know, I don't want to say we all know, as most of us know that, the illiteracy rate in Liberia is really high, especially with the women. So what your ministry is doing purposely to help the women with their education?
Very good, thank you. We have what's called the GUI program. It's a literacy program that we teach in all of the marketplaces, where we're teaching the women how to read and write, how to calculate, how to do savings and loan scheme. So it's in all of the markets in Monrovia. It's in all of the markets, the major markets in the counties. And I can tell you that every year, we just had graduation in all of the markets. We go along and they graduate from these literacy programs. So we are working with them. Right now we have the cross-border women. We have the rural women. And if you went to any market and you get a woman calculator, she knows how to calculate her money from U.S. dollar to how to convert her money from U.S. dollar to Liberian dollar. She will tell you she has a savings account. She knows the savings scheme. She knows how to separate her income from her profit. She knows she knows the back of her billboard. If she in Radical market, she can call to one country and she will know on a market deal what it is and what it's going to cost her to buy a bag of pepper or a bag of billboard. So we are training these market women with our literacy skills, business skills, in all of the markets. And as they graduate, we bring new ones on. So this is a program that is ongoing at the ministry where our market women, our cross-border women, we have women and young girls who go across from country to country to buy their goods, to come and shop. In fact, right now in Liberia, you see the informal sector is being run by Liberian women and young girls. These girls are going to Qatar, they're going to China, they're going to Dubai because of these business skills and because of the savings and loan scheme. They're getting credit now. They know how to pay back the loan and get more money. And so they are traveling. They go to Guinea, they go to Dakar, they go to Africa, they go across the borders, and they go buy their goods, and they bring them and sell them. So that's what we are doing to educate our mothers and our sisters in the market and other places.
Thank you. I've got one last follow-up caller, and that's because we have decided not to take other questions due to the fact that the minister has to go. So, folks, let me apologize to you right off the bat that hopefully we'll be able to get the minister back on here before she returns, and so we can have a little more safer and longer discussion. I'll take the last caller, and so hopefully the minister can address the last caller's concern and go ahead for a closing remark. But before doing so, I want to profoundly thank Mr. Abu Kamara, who's not on here. I don't see him anywhere here. I want to thank him for helping us to make this show possible tonight. And so, our minister is Mr. Bangali Trawale. Follow-up caller is our last caller for the night. So, Mr. Trawale, your line is open.
Thank you very much. Madam Minister, thank you. We very appreciate you coming. We feel that you come back. Quick question here. Madam Minister, given your argument, your point that you, including other women, are trying to legislate 30% representation in government, in political parties, or whatever institutions, as you are right as women, if that is what you are so passionate about, will you also validate to any group of people feel marginalized, say tribe, say we are not fully represented, we 30% of the population in Liberia, therefore we should have 30% representation in people, political party, private institution, government. Will you validate that? Will you look at that as a logical argument, given what you stand for too? Thank you.
Well, thank you. I mean, that's a concern for what, like you say, what I stand for. So I show somebody else to stand for that. I cannot stand for everything, but what I believe in or what I stand for is what I'm going to support.
All right. All right, Minister. Hey, hello, are you there? Hello? Hello? Hello, are you there? Hello? It's probably a good thing we're ending this show tonight anyway. We've never had this much technical difficulty before.
Okay.
Hello, are you here?
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, hello,
yes.
Go ahead.
So I think when it comes to political distributions within the country, Liberia itself, I think that's where the reconciliation part is very, very important. Because if you look at the political parties and you look at how people voted in the 2005 and 2011 elections, people tend to go with people from the counties. Okay, so for example, look at 2011, the last election. In 2005, you had Liberty Party, you had CBC, you had Unity Party. In 2011, you had Unity Party, CBC, and UDP. Okay? So this is something that is across the board, and we all have to kind of look at it critically, and maybe that is something we need to look at for the next time. I think that we'll all support it, and we all do it together. It will be a collective effort.
Okay. Hello, are you there? Duncan Cassell?
Yes.
Yeah. So with that, we will, like as we promised, we will leave it there in recognition of your busy schedule as you've requested. So we can.
I want to say thanks to you. I want to say a big thank you to the Diaspora Forum. I think it is important. I want to say thanks to all of the many callers from as far as Australia, Ghana, and Minnesota, and other places that call. I think this is how we will move our country forward, by informing our people. So I will encourage most of my colleagues that when they come to get involved with the Diaspora Forum, so their voices too can be heard, and so people can be able to ascertain what is really unfolding. We respect the media, we respect them, but sometimes things can get distracted. But I do agree that this is the forum for these kind of discussions, and we will, wherever we're in the country, in the United States, we'll try to be a part of the forum. Thank you for the good work. Information is so important.
Thank you, Minister. And thank you. I just want to let you know that you do not have to be in the country to be on the show. We have hosted several officials from Liberia while they are. As a matter of fact, Senator Groupie will be on the last Sunday of this month from Liberia. As you can see, it's all done through the telephone. If we can have callers from Ghana, Australia, Canada, and elsewhere,
I do agree. Yeah.
So,
but because
you don't have
of
to be
the
here
time
anytime.
difference, I agree.
Right.
I agree.
Right.
But, yeah. Okay.
So I want to thank you, and thank you for your time, and we wish you well in all of your undertaking. Once again, happy International Women's Day to you.
Yeah. Thank you.
This is another hip hop classic.